Oh man, oh man, are we back? And are we ready to jive with the turkeys? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Thundercast Live. I am your sexy, gorgeous host with our gorgeous co-host, Rad Insight. Rad Insight, welcome to Thundercast Live.
I am excited to be here on a beautiful and warm Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Broadcasting live from the, I don't know, what the Rad Cave.
Oh yeah, Rad Cave.
The Rad Cave. Okay.
I like it.
The Rad
I
Cave.
like it.
Instead of Man Cave, Rad Cave.
Yeah.
Super exciting to jump into things. We got a lot of interesting topics to talk about.
Yeah.
In the world of video games, pop culture, the whole thing. But how you been, man? How has the week treating you?
Oof.
Saw you got some streams in a new stream in Chet's. Like, was it chilling with Chet, man? We were just kicking back in the Chet cave, drinking a beer, having some gameplay action.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said, and since I charge a lot of money for my face on camera, I got tired of paying myself, and I decided I'd do a few streams where you don't see my face, and yet you still get to hear my commentary, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I think that there's something that needs to be done out here with all these little kids nowadays, where they just want you to see their little face all the time. You gotta cherish that. Yeah, it is. It is legitimately 90 something fucking degrees in October, and even my sweet Hawaiian shirt, I need to give it a break. So it's tank top season, baby.
Tank top season.
Tank top season. We got some of that. We got some of that Chet Maddox merch coming out soon. Tank tops galore. Hey,
yeah, I'm with it.
If you're thirsty right now, what are you gonna be drinking?
I'm gonna be drinking some Liquid Death.
Oh yeah, let's see that. What kind of Liquid Death are you drinking there?
I am drinking the Mountain Water Murder Your Thirst from the Australian Alps. This is probably the best damn water I've ever had.
That's right, people.
It's amazing. And also, if you're the type of person that goes to parties, barbecues, gatherings,
bar mitzvahs,
do not like drinking alcohol, can't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Sober October. This is a great opportunity for you to look like you are drinking beer, but also great water.
And hey, cheers to that, Rad, because I'm drinking some of the sparkling Liquid Death. This is all shameless plugs, by the way, because Liquid Death, you should be sponsoring Thundercast Live with Chet and Rad. And this is all that we drink. I happened to cross it on Amazon, and it was like music to my tongue,
Yep, I agree. Well, hey, super exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Before we jump into some topics, we talked about last episode that
about our $1 million intro.
Do we need to run that? We haven't even run the intro.
No, we're just ready to get it. We gotta pay for the show with our intro.
Shit. Yeah. All right. We gotta.
Well,
let's start. Let's do the intro.
Thundercast. There it is.
I don't even know what to say. I am more motivated and hyped and excited and than I was before. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we talked about last week, last episode, a lot of video game companies, especially PlayStation and Xbox, going to war, not only with the release of the new consoles coming up this holiday season, but the other things that they're competing about is software and titles. And as we know, PlayStation and Xbox both made some pretty significant moves to try to compete. And the latest move was Microsoft acquiring a pretty massive, very popular software company. Starts with a B.
Bethesda.
Bethesda. But the rumor is that PlayStation is looking to acquire WB Games. So the war for content is on. What do you think about that, Chet? WB Games.
Ooh, it's a man.
It's a
That is
war.
a tough. That is a real piece of work, my friend. They get WB Games after Microsoft lays a slap down on them with Bethesda. Oof. Here's the thing. I do feel like someone needs to come in and take over WB Games. But man, what a crazy time when you think about it. And really, I didn't see this happening until it was announced that AT&T had purchased or gotten into bed with Warner Brothers, just in terms of everything that's happening right now. And then we saw the decline on comics. We saw a bunch of stuff come up about gaming, kind of like in the background, nothing like major newsworthy. And then now, we have this news coming out where it's basically a big fuck you to Microsoft, because that means that they could technically make a lot of the games PS5 exclusive.
That's crazy. You think about those titles, man. WB. I mean, we know who owns Warner. Like, what popular franchise could Warner Brothers then say specific this is going to be Sony? I mean, Sony's already. If you don't think Sony has the capability of making stuff exclusive, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They've held on to Spider-Man like.
And to put that into perspective, by the way, Sony is strong-arming Disney on that.
Yep.
So
It's
just
crazy.
think about that shit. If you think that this isn't something big, and you think that this is just like a splash in the pan or a flash in the pan or whatever the hell the saying is, they literally strong-armed Disney, Marvel, out of not being able to use Spider-Man for jack shit unless they say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting couple of months and I think 2021.
Yeah.
With these consoles going to bat to see who is dominant. I mean, I think out of the gate thus far, PlayStation seems to be the more popular of the two next generation of consoles. But if there's some really exclusive software content that comes through, that will even the playing field. So we'll see. Speaking of PlayStation and Xbox, we were talking about it earlier, and I thought it'd be a great topic of conversation. Is there's just a multitude of different consoles over the course and time in the video game industry, and there's always been talks of like what is the best console, but I thought we changed it up a bit. What is the best video game controller to date?
Oh,
like what is your opinion? And are we judging aesthetics?
I'm only gonna talk about this if we can also add at the end and not get into detail, but the worst game controller ever made.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that's pretty easy. We can. I mean, it's harder to pick the best versus the shittiest.
Okay, let's zoom in on you for a second. What's the shittiest you've ever seen?
I thought we were leading with the best. You want me to lead with the shittiest?
Well, you made. I mean, let's be clear. You made this a. Oh, well, that's easy. So like,
Well, let's save that to the end. Let's get into the good stuff. Like what?
Okay.
You want me to kick it off? You want to kick it off? Like what? Let's. What are your top three? And then we'll narrow it down to.
Okay, let's first align on what we're gonna decide is the best controller.
Yeah.
What are our three, like, what are we judging it on? Let's put it that way. And for those of you stopping by, thank you for stopping by. You are watching Thundercast Live, the world's greatest podcast live, most interactive, truth-telling, epicenter of amazing awesomeness. And hit subscribe or I'm going to kick your pineapples. With that being said, go ahead. What should the top three be? Feel, like, grip, like comfort, right?
So comfort levels definitely got to be in there. Like what feels good in the hands, like good
Yeah.
control. I think that's number one. Number two, aesthetics, man. Does it look cool? Could you display it on a wall? Is it like that kind of like just really cool uh I think like legacy type of look that, for years to come, people are, it's just iconic. So I would say control, feel, comfort level, aesthetics. And then the third thing, what do you think? What do you think? What should be
Yeah.
the
So
third?
I think the third one all is it's really difficult because you can do it. I think it's literally placement of the thumbsticks,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Because like it
So
fit
like,
like there's game controls that fit well, but then the thumbsticks don't make sense. But then there's game controls that don't feel well, but the thumbsticks are like, yeah, that's how it should fit.
mm-hmm. Yep.
I think also too compatibility wise, right? Do we add that in like, or is it do we just do those?
We could throw compatibility into like maybe
Like a
use.
sub use
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. We could.
Okay,
So I'm
go
gonna
ahead,
throw
leave.
one
Yeah,
out there. I'm gonna throw one out there. Um, the current version of the PlayStation controller, the DualShock Wireless PS4. My opinion, one of the most comfortable controllers of all time. In fact, they haven't really changed much aesthetically. Um, I think ease of use. Um, I know the original black color, not the craziest, but you can get it in really cool aesthetics. But it's just classic, easy, plug and play, Bluetooth. That's got to be one of my top of all time. I mean, the fact that it hasn't changed much over time, and even with the PS5 controller, which we won't consider now because it hasn't been officially released, but I'm assuming that based on what I've seen, what I've read, as soon as we use it, I'm sure that's going to be in the top. But that is one of mine for sure. Is the DualShock PlayStation controller? What about
yeah. I mean,
you?
yeah. So I think like for me, I don't know if I would go with PlayStation. I tend to not really like the controller that much. It is comfortable, but I think for a long time mine was Xbox and not like big boy Xbox control. Even though that is very comfortable, mine has been just how the Xbox control feels when you're doing first person shooter. And then along came the Switch Pro controller, and that has to be one of my favorite controllers to date. I think they took the best ideas of the Xbox controller, the best ideas of the PlayStation controller, and they just gave a middle finger to everybody and said, "Here is the Nintendo Switch Pro controller." And it's like, man, if only I had this controller to play first person shooters with, and then fast forward to playing with it on the PC. It is super comfortable, and I gotta say right now, man, it's leading the pack for me. Yeah,
Okay.
I gotta say that, man.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I got to throw in my opinion, the greatest controller of all time, the most iconic controller of all time, and still one of the most comfortable, aesthetically pleasing, easy to use controllers. Let me roll back over here and grab. Let me grab this bad boy. Let me grab this, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
The OG. Chet,
oh,
you know about this OG.
oh, that's my
The original NES controller, baby.
yeah, it actually doesn't get much
Nintendo
better than that.
controller, right? I mean, it's funny that I would consider this considering all the other different types of controls and what they can
And
do. But come on, man,
and you know
come
what?
on.
Actually, if we're gonna go retro on this bad boy,
Yeah.
they actually did, and this goes along the lines with like where we're at now. What I said with the Pro controller, but the SNES controller is legit
Yeah.
because they added more functionality to it, right? And
Yep.
they almost kept it exactly the same. And I just remember that's the first time I played Super Street Fighter on a home console, was on Super Nintendo, and it was like, this controller is awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dude. If you and like we can kind of get into a little bit of ridiculous controls if you want. Like, I don't know if you remember Atari Jaguar.
Yeah. I
That shit
do.
had a telephone pad on the bottom of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It had like a
let's be
10
honest.
key. It had like a 10 key built into it.
Wait, if we're going ridiculous and we are going the most epic, the Nintendo Power Glove is the greatest of all time when it comes to epicness. Now, ease of use, functionality, not so much. But
Nothing there.
aesthetics, I wear that bad boy to the store if I had one.
Yeah, nothing there. It's not good for anything. And if you want to talk about even better, track and field match NES,
Yeah.
you could just
Yep.
get down on your knees and rub your hand over the pads and run faster than any human ever in in the history of track and field. Which, by the
Yep.
way, if you can find the track and field Nintendos unopened, that's a lot of money. But yeah,
I think we should. I honestly, I mean that it's gonna be hard to beat the original Nintendo controller, man.
No,
And
yeah,
it's really
that's.
gonna be hard to beat. Maybe we jump into
Do
the
you think?
shittiest.
Do you think it's?
Maybe we jump in.
But do you think it's a? Do you think it's biased because it's what we grew up on and it was like
Yeah.
the first?
No. And here's why I tell you that. I think most people, and I'm not speaking for the younger kids, the super young generation, but I'm
Okay.
talking about most millennial generation and above.
Yeah.
Um, I think the Nintendo controller is the most synonymous with video games. I think it's the most recognizable, and I think the controller is built for anybody to play games. Like you could put it in your grandma's hand, and it's literally like, directional pad, 2 buttons, start, select, you're good to go. I think these other buttons make it really cool for video games, and you're not going to be able to play a whole lot other than like usually 8-bit, 32-bit games on Nintendo. But to me, like it's just the greatest of all time. It's I think it's the most iconic. I'm sure there's arguments out there. We'd love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah. You know what's
Because,
crazy is I actually got those for the Switch when they came out.
yeah,
They're
that's
just
cool.
they're the classic ones. They slide onto your Switch. They're Bluetooth. I don't use them.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them though, so that says a lot. Like I
Yeah.
literally bought something that I have not used since I got them, and I'm totally okay with it because they are what they are.
Yep. All right,
Shittiest
so
control, huh?
Shit. There's a couple candidates, my friend. There's a couple candidates. I'm gonna throw one out there right away.
Make
What the
it
hell
good,
was
man.
Sega Dreamcast controller, man. What in the hell was that?
You know what Sega Dreamcast controller was? It was them trying to rip off the N64 controller.
But a very bootleg version, man.
Yeah,
the Dreamcast version looked like you went down to the swap meet and they were like, "Hey, you got any N64 controllers?" They're like, "No, man, but we got these. It kind of works." All right,
Yeah.
let me grab one of those. How much? $5.
Well, that was the Dreamcast system, though, right? That was like out in the day when CDs became like a thing, and then everyone realized that you could just like rip Dreamcast
Yeah.
games, and you didn't have to do anything because there was no like block on it.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, you wanna talk shitty controls? I'm gonna end the conversation with this Steam controller.
Yeah. that doesn't even count, man.
It does. It's a controller that they put out, thinking that people
Oh,
thought that'd be a
dear
good
Lord.
fucking control.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It's literally it is the worst of like it's worse than trying to play with VR controls when you're not playing VR. It is the worst fucking controller to have ever existed in the history of gaming consoles. Like, and that's above the Atari Jaguar that was like, what the fuck are all these 9 buttons for? Because you never had a game that used them, right?
Yeah.
Or it's worse than I think it's the Colicchio or whatever it was that had like it was a legit phone pad with a turn dial on top.
That was bad.
But that's not as bad as the Steam controller. Steam even fucking decided it was a bad controller, and yet they still came out with it, and then they just stopped talking about it. They stopped updating it. The whole purpose was this stupid UFO flying disc bullshit was gonna be something where like you could like play it. You have your thumbs and you're like messing around with it. And I fucking wish I didn't throw it away because I had one and I wanted to bring it out when I knew we were talking about this. But I actually threw it away because I was like, you're also taking up space in my house. But it was like massive, right? So they took it and it was almost like this. It was almost like the fucking original Xbox control. And they were like, this is kind of good. Let's make it worse. And so then they added the thumb disc that was supposed to mimic the idea of using a mouse. Absolute fucking garbage of a controller.
Yeah, definitely up there. It's hard to argue that one. I think there's a couple other ones that we can definitely throw in there. I don't know if you've ever, the original Xbox. That thing, I mean, if you had tiny hands, thankfully I've never run into that situation before. But if you had tiny hands, that was a very hard console. That thing was a brick, man. It was like it was gigantic. But
you're talking about the Duke, right?
The Duke, man. That thing was a beast. So it was hard to, especially for kids, man. Here's one before like the Kinect and before like Nintendo came up with their the Nintendo Fit and all that stuff. I don't know if you ever remember this, but for those of you listening, search Sega Activator.
That's the worst. That's a shitty controller.
You have to see the Sega Activator. Whoever like made that giant piece of shit should have lost their job immediately.
Those well, they did lose their job, and they went to Intel and created that Series gamepad, which looks like a sex toy. Have you seen this?
No, what is it?
This is the Intel Series gamepad. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yeah, I use that neck pillow on the plane all the time.
Yeah, and I wanted to show you guys. I had to pull. You can keep talking, but yeah, the Series Activator, the whatever it was, that thing is horrible. I remember seeing that, and I didn't think it was like a real thing.
Yeah. I got to give credit to Sega Dreamcast, though, because one of the things I really loved about that console, regardless of how the controller was, Marvel vs. Capcom, man. That was such a badass game, and I remember I loved playing that game. So,
for those of you who've never seen the Atari Jaguar controller.
Yeah, that's you could actually ET could phone home on that, by the way.
And all those things along, it's like I remember seeing that shit when I was younger in fucking the Good Guys, when that was like a store, which was the equivalent of like Circuit City, which also no one on here is gonna remember. And I was like, I don't understand how you use this to play video games, because it's literally like was it like they had like a teach your kid how to be a receptionist game, and then you got to use that?
Wow. It's like using like a TI-85 calculator as your controller.
While your friend is just doing the math.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can all agree that there's some really bad video game controllers and there's some really good ones. But at the end of the day, we'll see what these next gen controllers look like, but the PS5 has a potential hopefully to be one of those greatest of all time, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that impacts the controller.
Well, yeah, and let's not get it confused. Like the Microsoft Series XF Turbo 3000 is just the same fucking controller. So Microsoft isn't doing shit for the controller industry. They're just...
No.
It's the same controller. So we don't have to worry about Microsoft having some kind of crazy controller, because it's not there. Like, so this is all PlayStation's game right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought an extra 5 controller just to use on the PC because it looks rad.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. Well, I think we should move on. Again, any comments, any thoughts on the greatest controller of all time? Everyone has their own views. As we jump into the next topic, Season 6 Call of Duty just came out, and a couple of different changes, a bunch of nerfs, specifically when it comes to the Origin, the Shoddy, obviously, which there's always seems to be an OP gun, and then there always seems to be a nerf, and I think it's a strategy, to be honest with you. I think it gives people a shit to talk about. Quite honestly, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that it happens over and over again. It looks like
that's because they don't. That's because they just have no fucking clue what they're doing. Like it's like, oh, we'll nerf this gun. We're gonna OP this gun. That the gun that you unlock at level 35 on the battle pass now is like way overpowered. Way overpowered. So they nerfed the shotgun only to introduce this gun.
Yeah, there's definitely strategy at play. A AAA title of this magnitude behind some of the most powerful people in the video game industry, for it to constantly be an issue with you nerf something and there's another OP gun, you nerf something, there's another, and then they buff another gun, so you want to buy that in the variety of different types of skin packages. At the end of the day, it's all revenue driving.
Yeah.
But I think the topic is each season that we've seen thus far, new battle pass, new skins, a couple different changes to the map. Most recently, the big change to the map was the subway underground system, and then a new mode temporarily for Call of Duty. But the big question is, the tournaments are still alive and well. A lot of people are streaming the game. Still kind of fun to watch those tourneys. But in general, for the most of the people, and we're not doing any analytics or data because it's still an insanely popular game. That's not what we're getting at. But is it getting a little stale? Warzone, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. So I think that Warzone, it's stale. It's stale as shit. Here's the problem that I have. I actually really like the new battle royale mode that has the trucks in it and your trucks stay alive. I don't like that you have to fill up your squad, because there's been many times that I've played it where I'm just like, man, if it was just me and Colt Cannon or me and Rad, we'd probably win this thing, because it's like you don't have people arguing over where they're going to drive, and then when they drive, they just get stuck in the gas, and then you can't get out because you're manning the gun and no one else understands how to man the gun. So like here's the thing is, like, even with the new subways, I jumped in to try to play just to figure it out. It was just, what did we play? We played a round of whatever that was with the battle royale with the trucks, and we ran into fucking like 7 or 8 different fucking campers. What was it?
Yeah, I was so mind blown, right? Because this game, like, it makes no sense to camp. Like, none. I don't know if you haven't played this mode, like, if you're camping, and we've released a funny ass video on YouTube if you haven't checked it, like how to be the best camper. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're just making fun of it. I'm sure everyone got the message, but like we absolutely despise campers. But if you're playing battle royale and you're camping, it's because you're not a great player and you're trying to survive to the very end and win the game and do it in a really shitty way. But at least that makes sense. You're camping in a corner, you're sniping. But in this mode where you're trying to compete in like team format, 4v4, blow up trucks, you got single players in buildings sniping at people. It makes I'm just like, holy shit, they exist in this mode too. So
it made no sense, because you just jump. No. You just get in and you jump, and you're like, okay, everyone is probably trying to level up their truck,
Yeah.
Everyone's probably trying to drive around. You're like going through trying to find all these like all the money to level up your truck to buy things, and then then you're driving along, and these people just like drive to where they think this cloud is gonna end, I guess, and they just hang out in like a tunnel and wait for you. You get out of the truck and it's like you get sniped by somebody just laying on the ground. It's like, what? How fucking fun is that? Like, what did you get out? What did you get out of fucking doing that? Why did you jump into a battle royale where the whole premise of the game is to fucking build your truck up and go around and get into it, and get involved with it and fucking fight it out, but you're just laying down on the ground sniping people with your sniper because what the fuck? What is the fucking purpose? It it
Yeah.
it blows my mind.
Yep. I again, battle royale. It's still, it's still good. I just think I'm getting burnt out a little bit. Here's an idea, throwing it out there. So Plunder has been a mode that's been out there for a while. They switched it to Blood Money. We've enjoyed playing it, but at this stage, you play that game, and what 10% of the people are actually playing that mode, are actually playing Plunder. They're just everyone's shooting each other up, and I think if you're trying to like rank up a gun other than multiplayer, it's a great way to do so. So honestly, the mode exists, but not it. I think people are past like collecting money. It's ridiculous. Like if you went and played Plunder and solo and you got like the 300,000 within the first like couple of minutes, you'd be like top 2, which makes no sense if you're like running, threes or fours. Wonder if you change Plunder to something where it's still about collecting money, but instead of having to like drop it at a helicopter drop, is you have to deposit into a bank, into the bank vault, and there's a couple of different bank vaults in on the map. And here's the difference, though: is once you put your money to your bank, maybe there's a designated bank instead. So instead of having like multi banks, you have a specific bank that you have to drop it, and then you have to protect the bank from other players who are trying to infiltrate your vault and steal the money. So there's a mixture of like, we're going to go out and get money, but we're also going to have to drop it and then also protect it. It's not fully baked out yet, but something different, man, because that mode needs like a full revamp because nobody's playing the actual mode. And this truck thing, that probably will go away. I just think there needs to be something different in Warzone to keep it fresh, other than just like variations to map and new skin.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. I think I just think that people, what's burning me out on it? They haven't done shit about these people with these like RPGs.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, I get it. It's an RPG, but like, why are you dropping in with an RPG? What's the point? I guess if you win, you win, right? But at the end of the day, they just haven't really done much to like combat any of the like hacking that's going on. I mean, like you get killed from like you're on the opposite side of a wall and the guy's already headshotting you as you turn the corner. Like, come on,
that's skill, dude. That's what skill.
Oh, yeah,
what are you talking about?
I forgot that's some of the perks you can add, right?
Yeah.
You know
Wall
what?
hack perk.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is like that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to Cold War, is because it's just all new maps. It's multiplayer maps, right? And then whatever the case may be with whatever they do with Warzone. But I mean, what wouldn't have this problem is Cobra.
Yep. Warzone, Call of Duty, Cobra.
Project
Speak
Cobra.
it into existence. Speak it into existence.
I'm telling you.
For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, you're tuning in for the very first time. You're listening to us for the very first time. Go back a couple of episodes. I think it was episode 2, I believe.
Yep. And there's also Thunder Clips Live has we have a clip. We have clips of our Project Cobra.
Listen to that pitch. I'm telling you, that could change the game, change the industry, and maybe we're
Hands
just like
down.
freaking GI Joe nerds from the 80s, but who cares, man? I think there's enough people that would be super stoked in those skins and that story. So
Yeah,
we can only hope that that happens.
it
Um,
will.
so we've thrown some ideas on how to improve Warzone. Let's talk a little bit about what would be your perfect video game at this stage. And I'm not talking about like what characters or whatever, but just like the
Yeah.
style of game, MMO, shooter. Like, have you thought about concepts? What would you like to enjoy at this stage right now that perhaps doesn't exist?
Are we
Is there
talking like?
something,
Are we talking like this has to be like AAA title? Or are we talking like
whatever, man?
freak
Just
of nature
something.
like Fall Guys?
What what's the ultimate game right now? What's an idea?
You know what the ultimate game for me is, and this is why I'm so scared that it's coming out. Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I am excited, but also very scared about Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk has like first person role playing, character development, storyline, multiplayer in the future. Like it's got everything that you kind of want, right? But if CD Projekt Red fucks it up, it's almost going to be a bigger hoax than Brime Live. For those of you who don't know what Brime is, they are the new streaming platform that apparently signed the doc, whoever the fuck the doc is. But yeah, so I think that that probably encapsulates a lot, right? Um, because really the reality is it's no more like creating a game that doesn't exist because every type of game exists now. It's about combining games that exist and making it better, and I'm hoping that that's what they do with Cyberpunk. What about you?
I truly enjoy. I mean, I agree with you. Like Cyberpunk, I think is going to be an excellent game. I'm hoping all the hype, all the things that we've seen, turns out to be the most spectacular game in a long time because I'm super excited for that. So I'm 100% on board. Um, I think there needs to be a like some type of like survival game. There's a bunch of like PC survival games out there, and it's typically like zombie based,
Yeah,
monster based. I think it'd
yeah,
be just like cool to have like a survival game, like post apocalyptic type of game where
yeah.
it's a massive multiplayer, and it's just like humans. Like it's not like any zombies or special forces or whatever. And maybe this exists. I don't know if it exists. And you just like have a chance to like run with like tribes or run with like motorcycle gangs and like build up your reputation. Um, Something along those lines. It's kind of like a mixture of like
Just human on human, like
yeah,
squad against squad, not
like
not like
like
a run away from zombies all the time, right?
yeah, like Fallout meets GTA meets like kind of like a battle royale. Something along those lines, man, would be like super epic, super cool. I
Yeah.
think a lot of these like survival things is all like zombies and stuff. You're running from all of that. Um, I don't know.
Would
Be
you
kind of
would you
cool.
want would you want it to be like massive resource based? So like you have to pay attention to like food, or do you want it just to
Nah,
be a game?
man. Like make it cool. Like make it a little bit of simulation, but like you got to source water, some supplies, ammo, shit like that. But
You know,
um, not like where you're having to dive in. I don't want it to be like what's Tarkov. I mean, the
yeah.
inventory system alone is like a whole fucking game. Like, no, I'm good with that. I don't. So I respect the game. It's intricate, takes a lot of skill. I'm not about that, man. Like, let me learn the game really quickly, get in there, develop my character, open world, and not have to fucking worry about like, oh, your character is overheating. You need to like, get an ice pack. You know what I mean?
Get an ice pack, yeah.
Yeah, fucking pop a popsicle in your mouth. Your character's hot. You know, I'm good with that. So, yeah.
You know what's what's crazy is that a lot of that stuff exists in the board game world, and it's just like no one has recreated it other than in the board game world, and that's what's crazy to me is like find one of these things like Frosthaven or Gloomhaven, right? Frosthaven just did like $13.8 million on Kickstarter. I'm sure people would buy a living video game of Frosthaven, right? But you have to get Tabletop Simulator to have all that. Like, I feel like it's out there, and if I ever want a game that's kind of in that realm, I always default to like Resident Evil, or like Silent Hill, like old school like Silent Hill stuff, because a lot of those games, it's it's limited by the fact that like it rose to its peak, and then they are just living off of the peak instead of trying to expand it even more. And again, that's why I'm saying like Cyberpunk. I'm hoping it's right. I'm hoping they're doing it right. I'm hoping that the 45 billion times they pushed it back are for good reasons. But if you read the news, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. Well, we shall see, man. We shall see. Speaking of board games, not to throw another plug in there, but some really exciting stuff on the table when it comes to what we're working on. A lot of cool stuff. If you haven't had an opportunity to check it out yet, as part of this amazing dynamic that we have going on with the channel, Unicorns and Zombies is a game that is available to purchase now. And if you're tired of the stuff that's already out in the market, it's a fun, exciting, competitive game, cool art. So unicornsandzombies.com, a plug. And then we got some really cool stuff on the horizon that we're excited to talk to you guys about in the very near future. But board games are alive and well, man.
Yeah, and hey, if you're watching this podcast and you do have Tabletop Simulator, let us know. We'll set up a game and you could just play Unicorns and Zombies live with us on Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, man. I hope that Cyberpunk does it right. I hope they figured their shit out, and the game lives up to its hype. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's just around the corner, right?
Because there have been multiple flops this year. November.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll wait and see.
Then the only question is, when you buy it on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox One X Turbo 34800, what do you buy it on?
I'm buying it on TurboGrafx 16.
Oh yeah, because can I borrow it? Because I have the TurboGrafx Express.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Bonk's Revenge and then pop in Cyberpunk.
It's gonna be legit. I bet you based on the specs for Cyberpunk, it would probably run on my TurboGrafx Express.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about it.
I'm just waiting to plug in my my Dreamcast controller and go to work. Take it to the next level.
You can plug in your Steam controller and be like, no, that's all right. Plug in a better controller.
Computer and console explode simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's been fun, man. It's been fun today talking about a couple topics. Any last words as we wrap up another cast?
Man, I don't know, man. I feel like last week was intense with Hasbro Pulse and all that shit. Man, it's been crazy, man. But I will say just a little last resolve for me personally. I'm moving the Chet Mansion, so streaming is a little bit rough because I am fighting heat and also moving. And so I will try to stream as much as I can, but That's gonna happen this week. Got the whole new multi-million-dollar studio getting set up right now. Making Dolores part of the actual studio. So it's gonna be good, man. I'm excited, and yeah, we're actually looking for our first live guest for Thundercast Live. So if you or anyone you know wants to be on Thundercast Live and you love pop culture, video games, board games, podcasts, me, Rad, any of those things. Doritos. If you love any of Doritos, Pepsi, DeLoreans, whatever, we're looking for you. What about you? Final words? Let's zoom in on you.
Final words is, don't let the campers get you down. Don't let the cheaters get you down. Don't let the stream snipers get you down. Don't let don't let anybody get you down, man. And when all else fails, call Chet and he'll take care of it. That's all I got.
Yeah. And just like Rad said, if you got anybody that's bullying you or putting you down on the medias that are social, you fucking come into this podcast and you fucking tell them, I'm not going to take it. Hey, man, we'll see you guys next week. It's been great. Rad, thanks for coming. If you guys don't subscribe and you don't click that bell, I'm going to kick your pineapples. I say it every time, and I mean it. I promise you. That's what I'm going to do.